All right, this is our first lesson in our new unit on the Constitution. We're going to start with the Articles of Confederation, the first U.S. Constitution. So it was created around the same time as the Declaration of Independence. It was created in June 1776 during the Second Continental Congress, before the Declaration of Independence was actually signed. But it was not ratified until 1781. Ratified means did not go into effect until 1781 following the war. Now, some basic information about it. It only lasted 8 years, so we're talking about really early inside the United States being a country. Now, because of fear of a strong central government, i.e., the king, the writers wrote, the founding fathers made the articles very, very weak. It only had one house, unicameral, which was the Congress. There was no president, no Supreme Court. States were the most powerful of this group because they feared a central government, a powerful central government like the king. And only good thing from the Articles of Confederation was the Northwest Ordinance, which we'll talk about at the end of the lesson today. So the powers to Congress, the things they could do. The things they could do is raise an army and a navy, make war and peace, negotiate treaties, fix the coin standards or how they were going to have money, and provide for a postal service. So these are the only things they could do. Now, things they couldn't do. They could not levy taxes. Basically, you had to give money to the central government. Not many states were willing to give up money. They could not stop states from making their own paper money. So New York had their own money, Massachusetts, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, all these groups had their own money. They could not regulate trade between the states. So one state could sell stuff for one price while another state could sell it for another price. They could not enforce laws, so those laws would not carry universally across each state. And they could not make laws or treaties with the Native Americans or the Indians or other countries. They had to all work together, especially if those treaties conflicted with state laws. Other problems. It was required a unanimous vote to change anything in the Articles of Confederation. So basically, if one state didn't agree, every state had to still live with the old way. Treaties made by Congress were often turned down or ignored in favor of dealing with states individually. So instead of dealing with the whole United States, countries would deal with Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania. And if you had something to offer, they were more willing to work with you versus states that didn't have as much like cotton or tobacco to deal with. Now, the positive thing that came out of the Articles of Confederation was the Northwest Ordinance. The Northwest Ordinance was what we had that allowed us to go through and allow new states to join. Because remember, after the Revolution, we stopped, instead of being stopped at the Appalachian Mountains, we extended our territory from the Appalachian Mountains to the Mississippi River. And so this allowed for us to have new ways of doing everything, more land. So it's going to divide territory into 36 square mile townships, so little communities of 36 square miles. It sold land in 640 acre lots. It set the admission requirements for new states. They had to have a population of 60,000 people. They had to set up a government with natural rights similar to the Bill of Rights, which we'll talk about later on. It also prohibited slavery, but did not free slaves who were already there or already slaves. So if you were a slave, you moved into the new territory, they still left you as a slave, and you could not buy slaves. You couldn't buy slaves there, but you could keep any if they already owned. So basically people would go back to the East Coast, buy slaves, bring them back. But these different things, especially the admission requirements, the setting up the government similar to the United States, and having the natural rights, it allowed you to have new ways for new states to join in. Instead of us being 13, this is how we eventually stretched over to 50 states.